In a crossover-hungry marketplace like today, it's always interesting to me when an auto manufacturer introduces an all-new sedan to the marketplace. However, Toyota feels that there are still enough buyers out there looking to purchase a sedan, which is why I'm out here just outside of Nashville, Tennessee, with the new flagship of the Toyota family. This is the brand new 2023 Toyota Crown. It replaces the Avalon in Toyota's North American lineup, and unlike its predecessor, which we haven't seen for decades, this is now only available as a hybrid with the availability of a hybrid max powertrain with standard all-wheel drive. So if you're one of the few individuals out there looking for a brand new full-size premium sedan, how does the all-new 2023 Crown stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Hey everybody, before we get started with the review, I want to give a brief shout out to the sponsor of this video, Upside. Now, if you live in today's world, you're gonna notice that inflation is getting ridiculous and it really is hitting us where it hurts. And it really hurts. Which is why I started using an app called Upside. Now, Upside can be used for anybody who buys groceries, gasoline, or goes out to eat. And it's really easy to fit into your daily life and you can earn cash back on most of your day-to-day purchases. Now for me personally, I've been using Upside in all my day-to-day travels. As you guys know, I travel a lot for work. And in addition to being a huge car enthusiast, I'm also a huge foodie, which is why I use the Upside app whenever I'm looking for a restaurant in a new location that I'm visiting. All I have to do is just pull up the app, click on the claim offer for cash back. I've seen it as high as 15% from some restaurants. Click that offer, use my normal debit or credit card to pay for it, and start enjoying the savings right away. And compared to most loyalty programs, I've noticed while using Upside that I can easily earn up to 3 times the amount of cash back. And when I'm ready to cash out that cash back, I can easily do so through my bank account, PayPal, e-card through Amazon, and other competing services. So what are you waiting for, guys? For you to start saving money today on most of your daily purchases, be sure to visit your phone's App Store or Google Play and download the free Upside app. Use my code word Redline where you can get $5 or more cash back instantly on your first purchase of $10 or more. And now, let's get back to the video. Now, as Toyota's new flagship sedan here in North America, I'm going to start by showing you guys what's powering this large premium sedan. Now, when you lift up the hood, Toyota is actually going to offer a choice of 2 different powertrains. The base Crown will use the company's 2.5-liter 4-cylinder with 3 electric motors. That makes around 246 horsepower. It's their 4th generation of their hybrid Synergy drive. However, this model here has a unique powertrain that Toyota borrowed from the Lexus RX 500h F-Sport Performance. It's a 2.4-liter turbocharged direct injection 4-cylinder. They're calling it a hybrid max. The engine on its own makes around 275 horsepower. However, it's paired with 2 electric motors, one at the front and then a separate E-axle at the back. That's essentially technology that they taken out of the Toyota BZ4X. The rear electric motor is much stronger, and like I said earlier, all vehicles from the Crown have all-wheel drive. Now, it has 2 separate all-wheel drive systems. This is a full-time 4-wheel drive system that offers torque vectoring and up to a 70-30 front-to-rear torque split, so it actually gives you more of a rear drive bias feel. If you guys go for the XLE or the limited trim, you'll have an on-demand all-wheel drive system where you have a separate rear electric motor. It primarily gives you more front drive bias and then sends power to the rear or activates the rear axle when needed. This model here, because it's the hybrid max, has a 6-speed automatic and it develops 340 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. That makes it essentially the most powerful sedan that Toyota has ever offered here in the States. I'm talking about a Toyota, of course, not a Lexus. And fuel economy is surprisingly good. This model here is rated to get 32 in the city and 29 on the highway, about 30 Mpg combined. This is also tuned to run on regular. So compared to the RX 500 F-Sport Performance, which has 367 horsepower that runs on premium, this runs on regular gas. If you guys go for the baser trims, you'll actually get up to 41 Mpg combined. So again, pretty big difference, but this model here should be good for 0 to 60 in around 5.7 seconds, which is about 2 seconds faster versus the standard powertrain. And as this car sits, it weighs in at just over 4,200 pounds. So it's definitely no lightweight. But let's go ahead and close up the hood here for this car. I had a feeling this was going to happen. Why is it stuck? Wow, there we go.
This is the same car that we had.
This is probably, okay. So finally closing the hood, let's go ahead and talk about the exterior styling of the Toyota Crown, because when I first saw this vehicle out in the studio, it was in an interior environment. Now we're out in the sunlight here on this golf course, and I have to say the styling of this car is definitely controversial. Now I will also point out the Platinum grade has this unique two-tone bi-color look where you have the supersonic red with the black hood, the black roof, the black front end. Toyota also has solid colors available on other trims, which I personally think the Crown looks better when it's painted one color versus this two-tone look. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of the exterior styling. Now you can see the grille. It has that corporate Toyota grille, very massive look to it. You have actually functional openings here, and then there's an LED light bar that kind of connects the two headlights together. You have full LED headlights where there's 4 individual LED diodes. You have LED daytime running lights and turn signals, no fog lights, and then down here you can see there's a little bit of openings to let air to, again, allow the engine to cool, but this area here kind of has like this textured triangular look in the grille with a front camera and integrated parking sensors. The design of this car definitely is bold. Toyota is claiming that they're kind of reinventing the sedan with this vehicle, and you can definitely tell it's trying to be kind of like a cross between an SUV and a sedan. Kind of think of it as the old Subaru, a successor to the Subaru Outback sedan, which again was a high-riding vehicle, because if you look at the side profile of the Crown, it actually rides about 4 inches higher versus a Toyota Camry. Now that doesn't mean it has 4 inches more ground clearance. They just kind of increase the height of the roof to give us more interior space and give us that kind of higher step-in height. This is built off of the TNGA-K architecture. So it's the same architecture as the Camry, as the Highlander, as the discontinued Avalon. So its wheelbase, 112.2 inches long, which is kind of on the shorter end for a bigger full-size sedan. Its overall length is just over 196 inches long. So it's a couple inches longer than the Camry, but if you're going to compare it to other full-size sedans like the Chrysler 300C or the Dodge Charger, this is technically not as big, but that's kind of the way Toyota's always been. They don't want to do too big, because then it would be encroaching too much on the Lexus LS. Now, looking at the wheels, you can see Toyota's going to offer a choice between a 19-inch wheel on the baser trims and a 21-inch wheel. You can see it's got kind of like this two-tone black machine painted look, multiple spokes. The tires on this vehicle, you can see there are two 45s at the front, riding on a 21-inch wheel. This is the largest wheel that Toyota's ever offered on a sedan. You can see there's also kind of crossover-like cladding here, which isn't really my favorite, but again, they're kind of giving us a little bit more ride height here. The ground clearance for this sedan is around 5.3 inches. So again, you're not going to be taking this off-roading. The 60-inch height roof is just higher roof line. It doesn't mean it has more ground clearance. Now, the Platinum grade also includes these black painted side mirrors with integrated turn signals. You can see black painted door handles as well. The door handle itself is a conventional design, so that isn't the digital latch system that we've seen in some other Lexus products. Down here you can see more black cladding along the side sill over here, and then there's a panoramic glass roof. It is fixed, it doesn't actually open. You can get that panoramic roof on the Limited as an option. It comes standard on the Platinum grade that I'm showing you here. Now in terms of the suspension, this model here has an adaptive variable suspension. You got 4-wheel independent suspension as well, which is kind of what you expect. No air suspension or any of that fancier stuff. Remember, this is still a Toyota. It's not technically supposed to be encroaching on Lexus territory. Looking at the rear, this is probably a more controversial angle for me. I actually think the Crown looks better from the front, especially when you look at it at the back with the two-tone look. It's just not my cup of tea, but again, styling is always subjective. There's this really big LED light bar that kind of extends, that connects the two taillight modules together, along with the Toyota badge here. It spells out Crown boldly, and then you can see this model here, being the Platinum, has the hybrid Max powertrain, and then the Platinum badge. There's also some black painted areas here, integrated parking sensors, no visible exhaust tips. Remember, this is a standard electrified sedan. It comes standard as a hybrid, which Toyota may also eventually do a plug-in hybrid of this vehicle at some point. Now, opening up the trunk, there's a button right here, and if you push that button, so sorry about that, guys. We had to switch to another Crown Platinum because we may have discharged the 12-volt battery on that one. But this one here, I can get the trunk to finally open. And this is where the Crown may be at a slight disadvantage compared to a competitor like the Kia Stinger, for example, which is a Sportback. The trunk capacity measures around 15.5 cubic feet of space. You can see it's a conventional trunk. It has a 60-40 split fold-down rear seat, which is going to help with practicality if you need to put some longer items. And you can see here underneath this area, you can see there's actually a temporary spare tire. So I was expecting Toyota to do fix-a-flat kit or no spare, so it is nice to find that they included that feature for those of you who must have that in their vehicle. Hopping into the interior of the brand new 2023 Crown. Now this one here that I'm sitting in is the Platinum grade, so we have this kind of black interior with some of the copper accents and the contrasting stitching. Getting in and shutting the door, The door has a relatively solid sounding thunk. Remember, this rides on the same TNGA-K architecture as the Camry and the Highlander. So many Toyotas ride on this platform now. Here's the key fob for the vehicle. You can see the Crown doesn't have a distinctive fob. This is their intelligent access key. It's got lock, unlock, remote trunk, and panic. No logo on the back. The Toyota logo is only over here. You can also use your phone as a key through the Toyota Connected Services app, but I don't have access to that, so this is a press car. Button to fire up, everything is over here. It's kind of blocked by the steering wheel when you're sitting in the driver's side, but once you know where it is, just push that button, you can hear it has the newer Toyota chime. And then all the Crowns, even the base model, will have the 12.3 inch, the dual 12.3 inch displays. It's actually really nice in the fact that you don't have to go to the higher trims to get the twin displays. This also uses Toyota's newest Toyota audio multimedia interface. As you can see, it's got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's my phone connected to it right away. It also has over-the-air updates. But we'll move back to the infotainment system in just a moment. Let's talk about the interior materials, because this is their flagship sedan. You expect it to feel almost like a Lexus in here. And I have to say, this is where I am kind of disappointed. The interior is nice, but I just don't know if it's flagship worthy nice. Now let's start with the seats. You can see the Platinum grade has these upgraded premium leather seats with the kind of contrasting copper accents on the seats. These are also heated and ventilated. If you guys go for a limited trim and up, you'll get the heated and ventilated seats. It's an 8-way power for both the driver and the passenger. You've got 4-way lumbar, and then the driver also has 2 position memory seats. The seats are pretty comfortable. I can get a comfortable driving position. The leather also feels nice. The steering wheel, as you can see, it's tilt and telescoping, but it's not a power tilt and telescoping. Now, I'm not really expecting that, but it would have been a nice surprise considering the positioning of the Crown. You can see the door panel also has a soft touch injection molded plastic material. This area right here is slightly padded, but it almost feels like just plastic with the leather covering over the door panel. Down here, it's nice and padded. The window controls, they feel pretty high quality. They're also automatic up down for all 4. That's what you expect. You'll have automatic power folding mirrors, which is nice. The controls, again, is the typical Toyota quality. It feels pretty good. The door handle here is a silver painted plastic piece. The dashboard, as you can see, it's flanked by the 2 12-inch displays with the piano black plastic border. This upper portion here is hard touch plastic, and surprisingly, this car is missing a heads-up display. Considering the price point of this car, you can get like a RAV4 with a heads-up display. So kind of surprised to see that the Crown does not have a heads-up display. Over here, you can see it's a soft touch plastic. It's the same kind of material here where this is plastic but covered in like a leather material, hard touch plastic down here. I would have liked to see some wood, some aluminum trim, just some more contrast. Now Toyota does offer a cloth seat on the XLE, which has a really interesting texture to it. Or you can also go for like a macadamia, a lighter color interior. There's also a darker brown interior. So that's kind of an option. I also kind of like how there's copper trim over here with this copper accented volume knob here, which is kind of cool, where you can kind of turn on and off the head unit from there as well. Down here you can see you've got dual zone climate control with heated and ventilated seats with like an automatic setting. You have a heated steering wheel as well, which you kind of expect that in a vehicle like this. You can see it's accessed by pushing this little button over here. There's 2 levels. A lot of the controls, they feel pretty high quality. This screen, however, it could be a little bit nicer looking. It's kind of like just a very Radio Shack-like display, but it would have been nice to see like all color or a digital display. Down here you can see wireless phone charging pad, where my iPhone 12 Pro Max fits very nicely in here. Push this button, you can see it gives you a full 360 perimeter scan view along with automatic parallel parking. Toyota's been working hard to make their resolution and quality better on their systems, and when you put the vehicle in reverse, you can see there's the full 360 camera, which lets in, or has decent resolution. It kind of gives you an overhead view, which is pretty nice. It also has parking sensors front and rear, which is what you expect in vehicles, again, in this price category. Down here you can see the center stack. There's your shifter for the 6-speed auto on this trim. It's the same kind of hybrid shifter you've seen in other Toyotas. Park is accessed by pushing the button here, kick it over to the left, then go into reverse to go, kick it over to the left and then up for reverse, and then down for drive. And then if you just hold it this way, it goes into neutral. There's also a drive mode selector. The Platinum version gives you 6 drive modes compared to 3 in the other trims. So you have a custom, a Sport Plus, a Sport S, and then a normal, a Comfort, and an Eco. So this vehicle has so many different drive modes where you can kind of custom tailor it to suit your individual driving needs, which is nice. You have 2 cup holders here, 2 USB-C charging ports. You'll also find 2 more in the actual center console, which, by the way, this center console opens up in 2 different ways. You can also open up on this side. You can see there's a USB-A and another 12-volt power in there. This area here, again, could be nicer. There could be some wood trim here that would have really spruced up the cabin a little bit more. The infotainment system here, you can see, just want to show you that really quickly. The responsiveness of it is really good. Go back over here, you can see, just hit the Toyota icon. You can go back to the actual Toyota display where all your widgets are over here on the left. You can also go into all your different settings over here. This is pretty easy to use, and I love the fact that it has over-the-air updates and wireless CarPlay. You can see there's an energy flow meter there that shows you how much charge the battery has, which, by the way, this is not a plug-in hybrid, so you can't actually drive this vehicle on electric only for miles, and then click that over there, it goes back to the CarPlay. So I like the way this looks here. I just kind of expected a little bit more luxury from Toyota, especially on this price point. Now above me, you can see this platinum grade includes this big pano glass roof. There's an interesting little structural bar here that kind of sits over my head. It seems like it's almost too far forward. This does not open, but it does have a power retractable shade. So if you want to give yourself some shade, Toyota at least gives you that option, but sadly you can't actually open that. Over here, really quick, let me show you guys the glove box. You can see it is damped but not lined with felt. It's actually a little bit on the smaller end, but thankfully there's a little bit more storage over here, which is pretty nice. The instrument panel, as you can see here, is a 12.3-inch display. It is slightly customizable. You can kind of change the screen here by pushing these buttons here where you can put your different trip information, drive information. You can show you an energy monitor and eco score, and you can also switch the drive modes here, and it also will show you a really cool display there of the car actually changing the modes. Green is going to be for eco, comfort and normal is kind of like a silver, and then sport is going to be a red tone. So that's all pretty nice, pretty much what I expect from any brand for something that's supposed to be their flagship vehicle. But overall, the interior is comfortable. It has some decent tech in it. It just doesn't feel quite as premium as I would like it to, but it's going to have most of the space that people are looking for in this segment. Moving to the back seat of the Toyota Crown, you can see this is their biggest sedan, so you're going to expect it to have a ton of legroom, and this is where the Crown sort of fills in that void. I mean, it has 39 inches of legroom back here, which is a pretty good amount. There is no flat floor over here because, remember, it has to have, I guess, some packaging for the engine, the internal combustion engine. There's no physical drive shaft because, remember, it's an e-axle, so I'm surprised there's a hump. You do have rear seat air vents with 2 USB-C charging ports, which is nice. You have storage pockets right here, and then you can see, for somebody my height, I can kind of get comfortable pretty well back here. Headroom space is fine, but I had my editor sit back here who's 6'1", and his head was kind of touching the roof, so that pano glass roof does take up some of your headroom space. Now over here you can see door panel materials. They're soft touch just like in the front, so Toyota didn't skimp there. You do have 1 level heated back seats right here in the rear, along with the 11-speaker JBL sound, which sounds okay. Nothing super crazy good like what you're going to hear in some competing vehicles, but fold this down, you can see there's an armrest that folds down, gives you 2 cup holders, and like I mentioned earlier, these seats do fold down, and these head restraints back here are also adjustable. So overall, the back seat is definitely better than a Camry. I just do think that you're going to still find more space, obviously, in some competing cars. All right, so this week we are back in Nashville, Tennessee. However, we're not here with Nissan. We're here with Toyota to drive their new flagship premium sedan, which replaces the Avalon. It's a weird time for Toyota to be introducing a sedan in an SUV marketplace, but we're starting out the day in this XLE trim, which the XLE and Limited have the less powerful hybrid Synergy drive system, so it doesn't have the Hybrid Max with the turbo engine. Instead, we have the 2.5 with 3 electric motors. This is kind of similar to the Lexus NX350h or RX350h or RAV4 hybrid, but we have 246 horsepower. So let's go ahead and start it off with a quick 0 to 60 time here. Toyota says around 7.6 seconds, which sounds about right for the other vehicles with this powertrain. So let's see what we can get here. Now that was 6.86, but that is going slightly downhill. So I'd probably say in the low 7-second range sounds about right. The interesting thing about this powertrain is it's surprisingly peppy in real world driving. I mean, the engine doesn't sound great when I put my foot down. It definitely makes a lot of noise, and it reminds you that it's a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, but because of the 3 electric motors that help it out, when you put your foot down, you don't always need to put your foot down, or you don't always have to rely on the gas engine to provide enough torque to get you up to speed. The electric motors also provide a really good boost of acceleration at low speeds where it doesn't make any noise because of their electric motors. And then every time you kind of coast to a stop, the gas engine shuts off and it feels like you're driving a pure electric vehicle. But let's go ahead and switch the drive mode here to normal. And like even in this mode here, If I accelerate slowly enough to about 12 miles an hour, then the gas engine comes on. But again, you have to have a lot of patience to do that because this isn't a plug-in hybrid. It doesn't have a big enough battery pack to give you electric-only range, but this model here will do up to 41 Mpg combined. Now, those are Toyota's estimates. We're on a very short media drive here, and just on like this 18-mile drive that we've been on, the car's showing 31.5 Mpg. Now, I suspect that's going to do significantly better, but this car is a very early pre-production car, and the fuel economy should improve over time. But we're going to switch into the Hybrid Max later, but I want to comment a couple things. This XLE doesn't have the adaptive dampers, and it has these interesting cloth seats with this kind of like weird fabric material. I actually really like the seats. They're only heated, but they are very comfortable, very plush. The visibility out of this car is also pretty good. And the ride quality with these 18-inch wheels is also comfortable. We're going to hop into the Platinum with the 21-inch wheels later and see the difference. Now, I will say that the ride is still kind of on the firmer side. I was actually kind of expecting this car to have more of a floatier ride quality, but it doesn't. I think that the Highlander probably had a little bit of a smoother ride quality. But let's try another acceleration one. We found a flat surface. Remember, this car is all-wheel drive. .57 seconds there. So that's pretty much right on where Toyota's estimate was, and that was more on a level surface. They said 7.6, 7.57, that's practically the same thing. So decent acceleration, but if you guys are demanding more power, the Hybrid Max should cut about 2 seconds off that 0 to 60 time. All right, so now we've switched over to the Platinum trim, and this is the trim that has a lot more power, almost 100 more horsepower versus the standard powertrain in the XLE and the Limited. 340 horsepower from a 2.4 liter turbo with 2 electric motors, including a powerful e-axle at the back. So I've got the car in Sport Plus mode. We'll brake torque it a little bit, and we'll see what we can get. Ooh. Wow, 5.5 seconds. That actually is just as fast, if I remember correctly, as the Lexus RX 500h F Sport Performance, which again is a stupidly long name. But put your foot down here, you can really feel this car has plenty of power. And the cool thing about this Hybrid Max powertrain, the 2.4 turbo, is the turbo engine is a relatively good engine. It has good mid-range grunt. It sounds decent for a 4-cylinder, but the turbo lag that you typically experience with this type of powertrain is augmented by the 2 electric motors that basically provide the instant torque, and it gets rid of the turbo lag, and it just kind of feels, you just feel that effortless rush of power, which is really nice, especially when you're driving something like a premium car. This definitely feels significantly quicker. And it also sounds okay. The 6-speed automatic in this car is controversial because, you know, I was wondering why Toyota didn't want to use their 8 or even 10-speed auto that they have, but I guess the 6-speed is just what happens to fit the bill for this powertrain.
Off the line, it feels so much more powerful than the other one.
Yeah, well, because of that, all that additional torque. I mean, 100 more horsepower, and this has 400 foot-pounds of torque. So
at speed, though, the base engine didn't feel that much slower.
No, it didn't. Buzzier, yeah. This engine just kind of sounds a lot better, and it's really quick, to be honest. Like, this smokes any of the old Avalon powertrains, and I know a lot of you are probably sad about the loss of their 3.5 liter V6. Honestly, this is going to be the better option for fuel economy, for performance, and Toyota has confirmed that they are working on a plug-in hybrid variant of this car, which I am looking forward to seeing. Now, I was going to do a 0 to 60s, but this is clearly downhill, so we'll see if we can find another spot. But we're out here just outside of Nashville, driving this car and the Corolla and the Highlander, so there's a lot to drive today, and I have to say the Crown still feels like a little bit of a confusing car to me because I'm sitting here driving this car and it doesn't really feel like I'm driving an SUV. Does it feel like I'm sitting in a higher seating position car? Slightly. I would have to get into a Camry to know for sure, but you still have that kind of effortless, easy driving feel that you look for in like a type of premium car like this. So that's definitely nice. All right, still in Sport Plus. Let's see if we can get on what we can get on this run. Actually, we'll spin the front tires slightly.
I feel like a little bit of torque steer.
5.62 there, so pretty consistent. 5.5, that makes it a little bit quicker than Toyota's claim of 5.7. Is it fast enough to carry the weight of this being their flagship sedan? I think so. I mean, this is a Toyota. It's not a Lexus vehicle. It's not a Lexus F-Sport vehicle. So I think Toyota has done a great job here in the fact that they offer something like this. Now, I will say that this car is expensive. It's a little over $52,000, and it's Lexus money. And does it feel like a Lexus behind the road? Now, I will say, let's put the drive mode selector here into its comfort setting. We do have adaptive dampers. This model here, compared to the XLE, is riding on 21-inch wheels. And it basically glides over the road pretty well. Actually, for a car riding on 21s, it has a really nice ride quality. Now, we are on this pretty smooth pavement. I'll have to wait until I get one back home to test out some of the crappier roads. But the steering feel in this car is kind of non-existent, but it's relatively precise, and it changes directions pretty well. The brake pedal also doesn't have that weird hybrid feel, which is nice. And the suspension, it feels tight. It just feels well damped. It kind of feels more befitting of a premium car. Put your foot down here. Yeah, I mean, I like the powertrain. Definitely prefer this over the base 2.5, but the base 2.5 with the hybrid system, that's going to get you 10 mpg better. So if you're looking for better efficiency, you don't care about the 2 seconds faster 0 to 60, that one is also a sufficiently good powertrain. I just love how Toyota made all-wheel drive as standard, because that's something you couldn't get on the Highlander. If you wanted a hybrid, you had to be stuck with a gas 4-cylinder. They didn't offer all-wheel drive on the hybrid. Now it's come standard, and there's rumors of Toyota doing a plug-in hybrid of this and maybe even a full EV. Going around this corner here, you really feel the soft suspension in this car. Let me go ahead and go back to Sport Plus. But yes, she is not a sports sedan. She's just a comfortable premium car that also feels pretty heavy. It's got some pretty economy-minded tires that don't like being pushed either. So, but you know what? That's not the mission of this car. Although I would argue that people who buy sedans expect a more premium, or expect a sportier feel versus an SUV. I mean, there are SUVs that drive almost like sports sedans. This does not handle like a sports sedan, but it has pretty good body control. It inspires confidence. It just kind of, when you start pushing it, it starts to basically talk back to you and say, hey, you should drive a little bit slower instead of drive like a maniac. But overall, like the way this car drives. The Platinum grade with this hybrid max powertrain is definitely worth a look if you guys are looking for a premium sedan that's electrified, that also happens to be relatively quick. So when Toyota first announced the arrival of the Crown here in America a few months ago, I was pretty confused on why the company was introducing a new full-size sedan. I mean, we heard rumors about Toyota discontinuing the Avalon, so this now is going to comfortably replace that vehicle. And after spending the day driving both the Crown Platinum and the Crown XLE and limited trims, it is a very interesting vehicle. Toyota claims that they still capture around 20% of the sedan marketplace in the US, and they want to continue to be the leader in that forefront, and this is where the Crown is going to get them there. If you guys are looking at the base powertrain, the 2.5 hybrid system, in its 4th generation, it's a really good powertrain that's really efficient, that offers decent acceleration for most people. I got 0 to 60 in around 7.6 seconds. The model here, the Platinum, is the interesting grade because this is designed to appeal to somebody a little bit more enthusiastic, somebody who perhaps was considering a Lexus sedan, although Lexus, again, only has 3 sedans currently in their lineup. The max powertrain, 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. The interesting styling, especially with the two-tone look. The interior, I think, feels comfortable and spacious enough, but it doesn't really quite have the full-on luxury feel that I expected from a flagship sedan. I kind of expected Toyota to put a little bit more wood, especially the Platinum grade. The interior doesn't feel all that different, but really the styling of this car, it's going to be a controversial thing, especially for those of you who want to go with the two-tone look. I mean, Toyota obviously wanted to reinvent the sedan here, and they certainly have attempted to do that for this car. Depending on the trim grades, it's going to either stand out or appeal to be something like just a replacement for the discontinued Avalon. Now, speaking of which, if you guys are looking to get your hands on the new Crown, this should be entering or in dealerships here in the US in early 2023, and Toyota has announced pricing. This is going to start at $39,990 for the base XLE. Remember, all-wheel drive is standard along with that hybrid system. That's actually only about $2,000 more versus the old Avalon hybrid that didn't have all-wheel drive. If you guys go to the limited grade, that includes things like the available panoramic sunroof, the JBL audio system, the upgraded interior. That's going to start at around $45,500. Again, only about $1,400 more versus the old Avalon Limited in hybrid trim, but that didn't have all-wheel drive. This model here is interesting because it starts at $52,350. Those prices are plus destination, so you're looking at around 54 grand for this car, which puts the Crown at a really high price level compared to what you've expected from Toyota sedans in the past. It's really kind of encroaching on Lexus territory, which is again going to make it an interesting proposition. Obviously, this is kind of the halo of the Crown lineup. But if you guys are considering this vehicle as a replacement for the Avalon, I do think that Toyota has priced it well. I'm just not entirely sure the public is ready to accept a nearly $55,000 Toyota full-size sedan, but at least it does come with a really potent powertrain that I think most people are going to like. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2023 Toyota Crown. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.